English learners. A warm Namibian welcome to all our NAMCO learners and everybody else interested in learning to write in better English. You are tuned in for Lesson 3 in our 5-part series for Advanced Subsidiary Level English Second Language learners. Today you will learn to accurately and clearly express ideas in longer sentences and paragraphs. Our syllabus requires grade 12 learners to use accurate and clear language in expressing ideas in sentences and paragraphs. So, let's jump in and see what is required to speak and write in better English. Hi, Paulus.
Good afternoon, Miss Monica. Thank you for inviting me to this extra class.
I hope you won't see the class as a punishment, but as an opportunity. Did you study the essay marking guide that I gave you last week?
Honestly, Miss, aren't some of those things just for teachers?
Not that again, Paulus. Learners and teachers must have a common understanding of what is required in essay writing so that nothing comes as a surprise when your work is marked. Now, tell me, for you to score a high grammar mark in an essay, what must you have done?
Use extensive vocabulary and complex sentence patterns.
Wonderful. Then we can move on to our lesson on types of sentences. What do you know about sentences, Paulus?
A sentence can stand on its own and make sense. The meaning is clear. And it must contain a verb. A sentence is an arrangement of words that expresses a complete thought or idea. Always start it with a capital letter and end it with a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark, miss.
Quite right. I know we have been using sentences and we have an idea about their types, but I want us to use them with confidence and to deliberately choose to use certain types of sentences. Right from the onset, we should know that sentences are made up of clauses, the independent and the dependent.
I know that already, miss, because the independent clause has a complete meaning of. I know that already, miss, because the independent clause has a complete meaning on its own, whereas the dependent clause is incomplete.
Okay, and do you also know that the dependent clause can also be called the subordinate clause?
No, ma'am.
Subordinate means secondary or subsidiary. Also, we have the simple, the compound, the complex, and the compound-complex sentence types.
Now I'm getting lost, ma'am.
Just wait. Let us look at this sentence. The fire destroyed the village. Does this sentence have a complete meaning?
Yes, it has. Miss, if we add the words last night to this sentence, then it becomes longer. But I think it still carries one complete meaning.
True. The length of the sentence does not make it simple or complex. What is important with a simple sentence is that it expresses a single thought and that it can stand on its own. Hence the term independent clause, as you correctly said. Can you give me a simple sentence, Paulus?
I have some ideas.
That's your sentence?
Yes, ma'am. Have is the verb, and the sentence has meaning on its own.
Well, it works. Can you give me another one?
The teacher knows something that is quite interesting.
Good. Now let us look at compound sentences. You should remember the Fen boys, right?
Oh, yes. But I can't quite remember what each letter stands for. I know that each letter stands for a type of a conjunction.
I'm super proud of you. When we deal with compound sentences, we should always remember that they comprise two or more simple sentences, which we know are also called independent clauses. Is it clear, Paulus?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I want compound sentences from you.
Okay. John loves meat, yet he does not eat pork. Yet is my coordinating conjunction here.
All right, another one.
Understanding history is so interesting. Here I have used so.
Oh, no, Paulus. The word so here does not function as a conjunction. Your sentence was, understanding history is so interesting. I don't hear any two parts of the sentence that are joined by so.
Okay, sorry ma'am. Let me try another one. The shoplifter saw the police approaching, so he ran out through the side entrance.
Well done. That's much better, Paulus. Both sides of the conjunction so are complete sentences. You are joining these two meaningful sentences. The shoplifter saw the police approaching. He ran out through a side entrance. These two short sentences could stand alone, but to make a more interesting sentence, you joined them using so as a conjunction. You formed compound sentences by joining two fully meaningful sentences together.
Okay, so compound means like put together?
That's right. Next, we will talk about complex sentences, which are different from compound sentences. A complex sentence is an independent clause joined by one or more dependent clauses.
Oh, like a sentence that makes sense on its own, plus another part that does not have meaning on its own?
Correct, Paulus. A dependent clause either lacks a subject or a verb, or has both a subject and a verb that separately do not express a complete thought.
I see. Sure. It's getting complex now.
No, just make sure you understand what I'm saying every step of the way before I continue with the next part. A complex sentence always has either a subordinator or relative pronouns. Examples of subordinators are as, because, since, after, although, and when. Relative pronouns include who, that, and which.
But seriously, Miss Monica, are these things asked in the exams? It's more like a long question. To write a list of those things or pronouns?
Of course not, Paulus. You will not be asked direct questions about complex sentences. It's a language, so you have to know what a complex sentence is so that in the exam you can apply your knowledge. Your syllabus requires you to use a variety of sentences when writing your essays, especially complex sentences. Now, when I say assertive women are at a disadvantage in societies that reward and promote male accomplishments, this is a complex sentence.
Yes, complex and complicated.
Perhaps, but you are in grade 12, right? Your use of the English language should reflect that you are on advanced subsidiary. Listen to my complex sentence again. Assertive women are at a disadvantage in societies that reward and promote male accomplishments. Firstly, let's select the verb are. Assertive women are at a disadvantage. Now let's look at the rest of the complex sentence. In societies that reward and promote male accomplishments. This is called a relative clause because on its own, it does not tell you much. It simply describes types of societies. The relative clause needs the main part of the sentence in order to make sense. Let's do some more. What have you got, Paulus?
After eating lunch at the open market, Tim went to the gym to exercise.
Can you analyze that sentence as well, Paulus?
After eating lunch at the open market, Tim went to the gym to exercise. Okay, so the independent clause is Tim went to the gym to exercise, because this is the main message of the sentence.
That's right, well done. But continue.
And the subordinating clause before it is dependent on the main independent clause. If one were to only say, after eating lunch at the open market, it would be an incomplete thought.
Exactly. That was a good example. Thanks, Paulus. You have really been paying attention. I will expect you to generate many more of these complex sentences and use them in your writing. But wait, there's also what is called the compound complex sentence.
Ugh, that sounds super complex.
Not at all. But tell me before I proceed, do you clearly understand the difference between a compound and a complex sentence? Because as I said, we cannot move on until you get this part.
Yes, I do get it, miss. A compound sentence consists of two fully meaningful sentences put together, like families living together in a compound. They are joined together using conjunctions. A complex sentence consists of one meaningful part that could stand on its own, added to a dependent part that is relative to the independent part and tells more about it.
Yes, I see you understand them very well. Let's proceed. So, as we can already tell from the term compound complex sentence, such a sentence must reflect some aspects of the compound and some of the complex sentence. A compound complex sentence has two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause.
Yo, that sounds like a very long sentence.
Yes, it's longer, but please make sure your sentences are not unnecessarily long. Let me give you this example. She was called a redhead, but nobody knew her hair color for sure because of her wig.
That's an interesting sentence.
Now let's analyze it together. Paulus, you find the independent part or parts.
She was called a redhead can stand on its own as a sentence. So it's an independent clause.
Right. We can call it one of the independent clauses. Are there more?
But no one knew her hair color for sure. It's also an independent clause because there is a verb and the clause also makes sense on its own.
That's correct. We have at least two independent clauses in this sentence. So already this makes it a compound complex sentence. Again, a compound complex sentence has two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. What have we not yet used?
Because of her wig is a dependent clause.
And why is that?
The phrase because of her wig does not make sense on its own. It's incomplete. The subordinating conjunction because makes it a relative phrase. It explains why people did not know her hair color because of her wig.
Well done, Paulus. Now, I will read out a sentence and you have to tell me whether it is a simple, compound, complex, or compound complex sentence, right? Remember to always identify the independent and dependent clauses. Ready?
Ready, ma'am.
Good. Here it goes. Watagwan is my favorite television show, but I also love Rooted.
It's a compound sentence with two meaningful clauses. Watagwan is my favorite television show. I also love Rooted. And the two clauses are joined with a conjunction but.
Great. I'm really happy with your progress today, Paulus. And I hope the learners listening with you also enjoyed learning about the different types of sentences. Listeners, you will find many more NAMCO radio lessons on our website at www.namco.edu.na. In this series for AS Level Second Language Learners, we have 2 more lessons, so speak to you again soon. Bye for now.
This lesson is produced by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture.